Have you ever had one of those mornings where you wake up, make your coffee, sit down, and realize it's been days since you've really spoken to anyone? That heavy, quiet feeling lingers, and suddenly the house feels much bigger than it used to. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know you are absolutely not alone. Many people over 60 find themselves feeling isolated, even when surrounded by neighbors or family members. Life changes, like retirement, kids moving out, or even the loss of loved ones, can make it harder to feel connected the way we used to. And that sense of loneliness, if we're not careful, can slowly chip away at our happiness and well-being. But here's the good news: it doesn't have to be that way. There are simple habits you can start today that will help you feel more connected, more alive, and yes, happier. It doesn't require grand gestures or becoming someone you're not. Just a few gentle shifts in how you approach your days can open up new opportunities for joy and connection. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 simple habits that can help you feel more connected and happier after 60. These are things anyone can do, no matter your background or where you live. Let's take this journey together, because you deserve to feel fulfilled and appreciated every single day. Let's start with the first habit, and it might sound so simple that you'll wonder how it could make a difference. But trust me, it absolutely does. It's about making small social interactions a regular part of your day. You see, when we think about connection, we often imagine deep conversations or long visits with family. And while those are wonderful, sometimes they don't happen as often as we'd like. But did you know that even brief interactions, a smile exchanged at the grocery store, a quick chat with your neighbor while you water the plants, can lift your mood and make you feel less alone? Researchers have found that these so-called weak ties or casual connections play a surprisingly big role in how connected we feel to the world around us. They remind us that we are part of a community, part of something bigger than ourselves. So here's something you can try. The next time you're out running errands, make it a point to say hello to someone. Compliment the cashier's necklace. Ask your neighbor how their garden is doing, or even just smile at someone passing by. You'd be amazed at how these tiny moments add up and make your days feel brighter. Now, I know some people might be thinking, but I'm not naturally outgoing, or people these days don't want to talk, and I get that. But the truth is, most people are just as eager for connection as you are. They're just waiting for someone else to make the first move. Why not let that be you? You don't have to force long conversations. Just open the door with kindness and curiosity. Making this a habit, every day finding just one small way to connect with another person, can slowly but surely ease that feeling of loneliness and replace it with a comforting sense of belonging. Now let's move on to the second habit, which is about embracing a new kind of community. Many of us grew up with strong ties to a particular neighborhood, church, or workplace. But as we get older, those natural communities sometimes shift or fade away, leaving us feeling a bit unmoored. That's why it's so important to actively seek out new communities that align with your current interests and lifestyle. And thanks to the world we live in now, there are more options than ever before. Whether it's joining a local walking group, taking a painting class at the community center, or even participating in an online book club, you can find people who share your passions and values. One woman I spoke to recently told me about how she started attending a local gardening group after she retired. At first, she was nervous. She didn't know anyone, and she wasn't sure if her gardening skills were good enough, but she went anyway just once to try it out. And now, 2 years later, that group has become her second family. They exchange tips, visit each other's gardens, and celebrate birthdays together. It's completely transformed how she feels about this stage of her life. The key here is to be willing to take that first step, even if it feels a little uncomfortable at first. Remember, everyone who's part of a group or club was once the new person Most of the time, people are welcoming and happy to see someone new join in. And if you try one group and it doesn't feel like the right fit, that's okay. There are so many out there. You just need to keep exploring until you find your people. Another wonderful thing about joining new communities is that it gives you something to look forward to on a regular basis. When you have a class every Wednesday or a meetup on Saturday mornings, it adds structure and anticipation to your week. That sense of rhythm can be incredibly uplifting, especially during times when life feels a bit too quiet. Before we go any further, I just want to take a moment to remind you to like this video if you're finding these tips helpful so far, and subscribe to the channel for more practical advice on living your best life after 60. Your support means so much, and it helps us keep creating content that uplifts and inspires. Now that we've covered the importance of small, daily interactions and embracing new communities, let's talk about another habit that can make a huge difference in how connected and happy you feel. It's about practicing what I like to call intentional reaching out. So often when we feel lonely, we find ourselves waiting for someone to call, for an invitation to arrive, for family to drop by. But here's the thing. If we always wait for others to make the first move, we might find ourselves waiting a very long time. Instead, what if you flipped the script? What if you became the one who reaches out first? It could be as simple as calling an old friend just to say hi, sending a quick message to someone you haven't seen in a while, or inviting a neighbor over for tea. I know that sometimes fear of rejection or awkwardness can hold us back. What if they're busy? Or what if they don't want to hear from me? These are common worries. But most of the time, the person on the other end will be delighted that you thought of them. Everyone loves to feel remembered and appreciated. And even if you do catch someone at a bad time, it doesn't mean they don't care. It just means life is busy. Don't let that discourage you. Keep reaching out, keep making those connections, because every time you do, you're reinforcing your social bonds and strengthening your emotional well-being. Intentional reaching out is about choosing connection, even when it feels a little vulnerable. And over time, this habit can turn into a beautiful cycle, where you're not only feeling more connected yourself, but also helping others feel less alone too. So, we've talked about the power of small, daily interactions, the importance of embracing new communities, and the impact of intentional reaching out. These habits may seem simple, but they are incredibly powerful in helping you feel more connected and joyful at this stage of life. Now let's continue exploring even more ways to deepen that sense of connection and happiness. One of the most heartwarming habits you can nurture is giving back to others. It might surprise you, but one of the most effective ways to feel more connected and happy is to offer your time, skills, or kindness to someone else. After all, when we give, we often receive far more in return, especially when it comes to feeling a deeper sense of purpose and belonging. Giving back doesn't have to be some grand, time-consuming gesture. It could be something as simple as baking cookies for a neighbor, offering to babysit a grandchild for an afternoon, or volunteering at a local food bank or library. These small acts remind you that you are needed and that your presence makes a difference in the world around you. And isn't that something we all want to feel? There's a gentleman I know who, after retiring, found himself feeling quite lonely. His wife had passed away and his children lived several states away. For a while, he spent most of his days at home watching television, wondering what his purpose was now that his working years were behind him. Then one day, he decided to volunteer at the local animal shelter, walking dogs a few mornings a week. What started as a simple way to get some fresh air became something so much bigger. He made new friends, both the human and four-legged kind, and felt that familiar spark of joy return to his life, all because he gave just a little of his time. When you give back, it shifts your focus outward instead of inward. Instead of dwelling on feelings of loneliness or disconnection, you begin noticing opportunities to brighten someone else's day, and in doing so, you end up brightening your own as well. It creates a beautiful, uplifting cycle. Now you might be thinking, I'm not sure I have the energy or ability to volunteer regularly, and that's perfectly okay. Giving back doesn't have to be formal or scheduled. It could be writing a kind note to someone, calling a friend who's going through a tough time, or even sharing your favorite recipes with someone who could use them. All of these are meaningful ways to connect and contribute. Let's take a moment here to reflect on something important. No matter your age or circumstances, you still have so much to offer. Your life experience, your wisdom, your kindness, these are all gifts that can make someone else's life better. And in sharing those gifts, you make your own days feel more vibrant and purposeful. Now, moving on to another habit that's often overlooked, but so vital to our sense of connection and happiness: taking care of your physical health. You might be wondering, what does my health have to do with feeling lonely? Well, quite a lot, actually. When we don't feel well physically, it's easy to retreat from the world. Maybe your knees ache or you feel tired more often, so you start saying no to invitations or skipping activities you used to enjoy. Little by little, without even realizing it, your social world starts to shrink. And with that, feelings of loneliness can quietly creep in. On the other hand, when you prioritize your health, whether that means going for a gentle walk each day, stretching in the morning, eating nourishing meals, or keeping up with your doctor appointments, you're more likely to have the energy and confidence to engage with others. Physical well-being fuels social well-being. I recently spoke with a woman named Maria who shared how her daily walks changed her life after 65. She started small, just around the block at first, but soon she was walking to the park, then joining a local walking group. Not only did her strength and mood improve, but she made new friends along the way. She told me, "I never thought that something as simple as walking could help me feel less lonely, but now it's the best part of my day." Taking care of your body doesn't have to mean running marathons or following complicated routines. It's about finding what works for you and committing to small, consistent actions that help you feel your best. When you feel good physically, it naturally becomes easier to say yes to invitations, try new activities, and seek out connection. And there's another layer to this. When you're part of a fitness class, a dance group, or even just chatting with others at your local gym or pool, you're naturally building new social ties without it even feeling like socializing. It becomes part of your routine, something enjoyable and uplifting, rather than something you have to force. So, if you've been feeling isolated, take a gentle look at how your physical habits might be influencing your emotional well-being. Even the smallest shifts can open up new possibilities for connection. Now let's talk about something that might feel a bit unexpected, but is so powerful: nurturing your creativity. Yes, creativity. You might be thinking, I'm not an artist, or I've never been very creative. But here's the thing. Creativity comes in many forms, and it's not about being perfect or making something to display in a gallery. It's about expressing yourself, exploring new ideas, and engaging in activities that bring you joy. When you tap into your creativity, whether through painting, knitting, gardening, writing, or even cooking new recipes, you engage your mind and spirit in a way that naturally lifts you out of loneliness. Creative activities help you focus on the present moment, reducing feelings of isolation and increasing a sense of fulfillment. Plus, creativity can often lead to new connections. Think about a local art class, a writing group, or even an online community where people share their handmade crafts or favorite recipes. These are spaces where you can meet like-minded individuals who appreciate the same things you do. One gentleman I know started woodworking after his retirement. At first, it was just a way to pass the time, But before long, he was making beautiful pieces for his family and even started selling a few items at the local market. Through that, he met other artisans and found himself part of a new community, something he hadn't expected, but now cherishes deeply. Creativity not only fills your days with purpose, but also offers opportunities to connect with others, share your creations, and celebrate each other's talents. It's a reminder that no matter your age, there are always new things to learn, explore, and enjoy. If you're not sure where to start, think back to something you loved doing when you were younger. Did you used to play music, write stories, or tend a beautiful garden? Or is there something you've always wanted to try but never made the time for? Now is the perfect moment to give it a go, with no pressure, just curiosity and openness. Before we continue, I just want to take a quick moment to ask, if you're enjoying this conversation and finding these habits helpful, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us reach more wonderful people like you who are looking for practical ways to live a happier, more connected life after 60. Thank you so much for being here. Now, let's keep going and explore even more ways to feel connected and joyful in this beautiful chapter of life. Another habit that can make a profound difference in how connected and happy you feel is practicing gratitude on a daily basis. Now, you might be thinking, what does gratitude have to do with loneliness? But the truth is, when we intentionally focus on what we appreciate in our lives, it shifts our mindset in powerful ways. Loneliness often has a way of narrowing our focus. We start to dwell on what's missing, the friends we don't see as often, the invitations that don't come, the family members who live far away. And those thoughts, while completely understandable, can leave us feeling even more isolated. But when we pause, even for just a moment each day, to reflect on what we do have, the beauty of a sunrise, the warmth of a pet curled up beside us, a phone call with an old friend, it opens up space in our hearts for connection and joy. Practicing gratitude doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as keeping a little notebook by your bed and jotting down 3 things you're thankful for each night before you go to sleep. Or maybe it's sitting quietly with your morning tea, reflecting on one thing that brought you joy the day before. Some people like to say their gratitude out loud as part of a morning routine, while others prefer to write it in a letter to someone they care about. The wonderful thing about gratitude is that it trains your mind to notice the good, even in small everyday moments. And when you're more attuned to the beauty in your life, you naturally feel more connected to the world around you. I know a woman named Janet who started a gratitude journal when she was feeling particularly lonely after moving to a new city in her late 60s. At first it was difficult. She wasn't sure what to write. But over time, she began noticing things she hadn't paid attention to before. The way the sunlight filtered through her window in the morning, the friendly nod from a neighbor she hadn't yet met, the satisfaction of completing a puzzle. She told me that this simple practice helped her feel grounded and content, even before she'd made new friends in her new town. Gratitude changes our perspective, reminding us that life is filled with small joys and quiet blessings, even when things feel a bit lonely or uncertain. It helps us focus on abundance rather than absence, which makes a world of difference in how connected and fulfilled we feel. And here's the beautiful thing. When you express gratitude to others, it not only strengthens your own sense of happiness, but also deepens your relationships. A simple thank you note, a compliment, or an expression of appreciation can brighten someone else's day and strengthen the bond between you. Gratitude fosters connection both within and around you. So, as we reflect on these simple but powerful habits, making small social connections, embracing new communities, intentionally reaching out, giving back, caring for your physical health, nurturing creativity, and practicing gratitude, it's clear that loneliness doesn't have to be a defining part of life after 60. It's normal to experience moments of solitude and sometimes even sadness. That's part of being human. But by taking gentle, intentional steps each day, you can create a life filled with connection, purpose, and joy. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this conversation, it's that you are not alone in how you feel. So many people in this stage of life are navigating similar experiences, and there is strength and beauty in acknowledging that. It's also important to recognize that small changes really do make a big difference. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just choosing one or two habits to focus on can start to shift how you feel, opening the door to more meaningful connections and happier days ahead. Maybe tomorrow you'll say hello to someone new while out on a walk. Maybe you'll look up a community group you've been curious about but never quite found the courage to join. Or perhaps you'll dust off that old journal and begin writing down things you're grateful for. Whatever step feels right for you, know that it's worth taking. Because your happiness, your sense of connection, your well-being, they all matter deeply. And no matter your age, it's never too late to build a life that feels full and meaningful. Before we wrap up, I'd love to invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you tried any of these habits before? Or is there one that you're excited to start? Your experiences might just inspire someone else watching this video who is going through the same thing. Also, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We're always creating more content designed to support and uplift you as you navigate this beautiful chapter of life. Your support means the world, and it helps us continue sharing practical advice, encouragement, and community with people just like you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Remember, no matter what your circumstances are right now, connection and happiness are always within reach. It starts with small, intentional choices. Choices that remind you of your strength, your kindness, and the important role you still play in the world around you. Here's to living your best life at any age, and to embracing all the beautiful connections and joyful moments that are waiting for you. Take care of yourself, and I hope to see you again very soon.